like I say, the Republicans are on their heels. Here is Scott Walker, who was a creation of the Koch brothers through the AFP, this is Americans for Prosperity. He was one of the early states to adopt voter ID and vote suppression tactics on voters. And he also oversaw the redistricting in Wisconsin, which allows for Democrats to win 56% of the vote and yet control only 36% of the Wisconsin Senate. You heard that right. Here he is, sitting with Pete Hegseth, talking about the coup that is taking place in terms of redistricting. I mean, they're so much better at this in some respects. But go ahead.
Eric Holder facing backlash for what Wall Street Journal editorial board is calling a, quote, redistricting coup. Holder is part of a national redistricting action fund that's launching initiatives across the country to throw out Republican maps and turn districts blue in time for the elections. And they've already had success in North Carolina. Former Wisconsin governor and finance chairman of the Republican National...
The success they had in North Carolina was because the Supreme Court found what the Republicans did there was racially gerrymandering.
Wait, he literally just admitted that they're Republican maps.
Exactly.
In North Carolina. Former Wisconsin governor and finance chairman of the Republican National Redistricting Trust, Scott Walker, joins us now with how he's fighting back. Thanks for being here, Governor.
Great to be with you.
And I hear you played the drums, so if you want to join Brantley Gilbert at some point, you can. But this is serious stuff. Yeah. It feels like you're getting in the weeds, but you're fighting for the future of maps that matter for who wins elections.
And they already have. I mean, Eric Holder's been at this for years. They have this whole sue until it's blue mentality.
Sue until the district is blue.
Right, sue until it's blue. So even in a state like North Carolina, where Republicans are in charge of the Assembly and the Senate, the two houses there, they've gone to court, and over the years, they've gotten involved in Supreme Court races. So now the liberals, Eric Holder's team, now controls who's on the Supreme Court in North Carolina. And after the federal government, the U.S. Supreme Court said they weren't going to get involved with this. It's now in every one of the states. So North Carolina is one of the many states where Eric Holder's been doing this for years.
You mentioned North Carolina. Here's a statement Eric Holder put out about those maps.
I love the fact that Eric Holder has the ability to stack the Supreme Court, but can't get anybody elected on the state houses. I wonder why that is. I wonder why it is Democratic voters can elect the Supreme Court justices in North Carolina, but they can't seem to take the House and the Senate. I wonder if that has something to do with those maps that the Republicans drew.
Here's a statement Eric Holder put out about those maps on September 27th. He said, for nearly a decade, the people of North Carolina have been forced to vote in manipulated electoral maps that were drawn by Republicans in the legislature to create a partisan outcome. It's time for this era of gerrymandering in North Carolina to come to an end. He says he's just fighting for fair maps, Governor.
Right. The irony is, if you look at the form he files with the IRS, they actually say not that they're fighting for fair maps. They talk about giving Democrats an advantage in this. This is what this is all about. His efforts last year in 2018, even before the next census in 2020, already had an impact on 27 different House seats. So in large part because of what Eric Holder and his cronies, and he's got a lot of support with Barack Obama. Barack Obama's organization, Organizing for America, is now a part of that as well. They affected making the elections in 2018, effectively making Nancy Pelosi, not Kevin McCarthy, the speaker.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to look at the face of a guy who is knowingly lying and doing it with just total ease. And I mean, this is terrifying stuff. It's terrifying to me to watch a guy lie, know he's lying. Not only know that he's lying, but know that he was instrumental in all the components of that lie. In all the real world things that he was lying about, he was instrumental in creating. And yet he just sits there. Maybe they paid for his flight to New York, or maybe, I don't know.
Maybe his election trust team.
Oh, I'm sure he's getting paid by some PAC, super PAC, that has hired him to go around and do this stuff. No doubt.